Well, hello again, everyone. It's Richard again with the third in the series of videos on what happens after our live streamed services, after the service has actually taken place at church after I've got home. So it's Sunday afternoon, I'm at home, and it's time to make some DVDs for people who don't have internet access but want to be able to watch our services. We make, I think it's 5 DVDs for people at the moment. So let's get stuck in. Let me talk you through the steps, because there are several steps to this. Step 1 is that I'll take the file that we recorded this morning at church, and I'm going to edit that very lightly in DaVinci Resolve. And from that, we'll create an MP4 file that is the resolution that we want for the DVDs. That's 720 by 576 pixels. Standard definition widescreen video. At the start we'll just put an opening screen up for a few seconds. At the end we'll just fade to black, after that closing music. So we'll export that as an MP4. Step 2, we take that file and we use a program called DVD Styler to create a DVD image. That'll be a .iso file that represents the whole disc, menus, all the things that make a DVD what a DVD player will recognize when you put it in connected to your television. That's not quite as simple as just creating the video file. And in the third stage, we're going to then burn that DVD. That's the terminology. We're going to take that ISO file and we're going to create some DVDs with that information on it that we can then take out and deliver to people in their homes. So let's get stuck in with the first step. This is the folder that contains here the recording from this morning's service. So I'm going to fire up DaVinci Resolve, and this will take, as usual, a little while to start. Okay, so here's DaVinci Resolve. I'm going to go into the Church Streams folder and then into the folder for today, and I'm going to create a new project called DVD. And here is the Resolve window. But before I add any content to this, I'm going to go into File and Project Settings, and there are some things we want to do here first. We're going to change the frame rate to 25 frames per second, which is what you need for PAL UK DVD. And hit save, and then we'll grab the video and drop it into the media pool. And when we're asked, do we want to change the project frame rate, the answer is don't change. In Resolve, once you've imported media, you cannot change the frame rate on your project. So you need to set it to what you want to begin with. Let's also go up into the advert folder and just drag in that image. Looks like that, which we'd also used on the when we scheduled the live streams. So I'll double click here because there's quite a lot that we want. We just want to do a bit of trimming. Let's find the end of today's. And once we get to the end, I'll hit O, and that'll set the out point for this video. There. Good. And we also want to find the beginning of the service, which is somewhere around here. Earth and heaven will bow in awe, joining in salvation song. Okay, and we'll see Toby in a moment, and we'll hit I
Good morning,
to set the
everybody.
endpoint,
Welcome to
and there we are. Great. So that's good. I'll just save. Let's go into the Edit tab. I like this best for this bit. So we'll have that, and then we'll drag in, no, not that, we'll drag in the video. In my effects library, I'll drag across dissolve there so that it fades from one to the other.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Elmdon Church.
And let's jump to the very end. And if I just put that in, that'll do a fade to black at the end. Let's right click, normalize audio levels. Okay, that's about as much video editing as I do. Let's zoom out. Yeah, I should have chosen. If I set this instead normalized to -1, that's rather more. Good.
Our opening song, Grace Awaiting Me.
Okay, so we got some reasonable sound levels. We can jump to the Deliver tab, and so I want to save this in my folder for this Sunday in the DVD, and I'll call it DVD, but I want to save it as an MP4, and I want to choose the resolution 720 by 576 PAL. Medium quality will be fine. Add to render queue, render all, and it's going to spend a little while. It's going to take about 5 minutes to create the MP4 file with all today's service ready for the next step. So that's the end of step 1. Okay, so the file has been saved, and if we have a look here in the DVD folder, there it is. We can play it, and
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Elmdon.
yeah, and that's the service I was at. So great. So we can close DaVinci Resolve and save the file. The next step is to move from this file to having an ISO file that represents a whole playable DVD disc. And the program for this is called DVD Styler. This is also free software. I'm going to create a new project. I want video format to be PAL because we're in Europe. 16 by 9. This is fine. I'll click OK. We don't put any sort of titles and menus on our DVD. We just have a single video that plays as soon as you put it in your DVD player. So I'm going to click No Template, and it's created this menu for us. I'm going to right click and delete the menu. And what I am going to do is drag this file in, the file we exported from DaVinci Resolve, drag it in here. So now we need to set a few things to tell the DVD player what to do when you put the disc in. So we'll click on this fourth button called DVD Options, and first play command let's drop down and say jump title 1. So that's saying when you put the DVD in, read the disc and jump straight to the first clip on the disc, which is the service we recorded. It's going to be the only thing on the disc. If I now right click on that video and go to properties, what do we want to do afterwards? And afterwards we're going to change call last menu to exit, because that's the end of the disk. There's nothing more to do. I'm going to save this file and I'm going to save it in this week's folder DVD. I'll just accept that name. And now I'm going to hit this button, burn, which will compile all the information that we've given and make a single file that represents the whole DVD. We'll leave that ticked for preview. We're going to create ISO image and we're going to save that again in this week's folder called dvd.iso and click start, and off it goes, doing all that processing that it needs to do to be able to create the disk. And this will just take a few minutes. It's about a third of the way through now. You can see here this time code is showing you how far it's got through the eventual disk that's being created. While it's doing that, I'm just going to get a few things for the third stage. First thing I need is my hand sanitizer, because this is the point where things are no longer virtual. This is where there are real people involved, vulnerable people, and we need to be clean. Next thing I need is my stack of blank DVDs. I find this empty one quite useful. Ooh, it's just done something. It's
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Elmham.
It's playing my
in the name of the Father and of the
preview, so we can close that down. Do you want to create an ISO image of this video? Yes, please. And it'll carry on. Generating was successful. Close. We'll close that. Clear the cache. Yes. And that is the file that we're going to put onto the blank discs. I've got the blank discs here. I need some labels. And I need something to put on the labels. So let's jump in and go into last week's folder and copy last week's label. We'll rename it. Okay. 21st of March, the preacher was Karen Matthews. There's the Bible reading. We'll copy that and we'll paste it in there. Save. So I've got my blank DVD label paper. I've got 3 sheets and I'm going to put it in my printer, which is just over there. Turn the printer on and we'll print 2 copies. Then we'll delete that and print 1 more copy. Undo. And what we're getting out of it is DVD disc labels, 5 of them. Okay. Okay, so the next step is to put the labels on the discs. So let's just make absolutely sure my hands are clean, and I will do this every time. We'll take a blank disc. We'll carefully peel one of the labels off the sheet. And you can get machines that are meant to do this bit for you, but I find with a bit of care, you can actually stick them on all by yourself. But this thing is quite good just for holding it at a sensible height and angle. I find that makes it quite easy to get these on accurately. So this week I know we have 5 to deliver. Once we're back in church, I imagine we'll only need 4, because one of the people who receives the DVDs has been coming to the in-person services when they've been able to run. So just check the number that you need, that's all I'm saying. That's 4 blank discs. And sometimes this process doesn't go quite right and the label goes on a bit skew-iff, and if that happens, it's okay to chuck it out and do another one. Okay, so I'm going to seal up again my pack of blank discs, put that away safely. I'm going to take the first one and put it into my DVD burner. Okay, and I'll just cover up the rest of the labeled discs. Let's right click on the ISO file and say burn disk image. I'm going to burn it to my F drive. I'm going to verify it after burning, and I'll hit burn. And this process now takes about 10 minutes per disk. So it's time to go and get a cup of tea. Okay, so my first DVD has been made. I'm told disk has been successfully burned to disk. Great, so we'll crack on and do the next one. But first, I'm going to sanitize my hands again, because we are still in the middle of a global pandemic, and the people we're doing these for deserve to have us look after their safety. So I'll reach down, grab the finished disc. I've got a box of DVD cases. I'll pop this disc inside, fold the flap down, get the next of my blank discs from the stack I made earlier, put that into the computer and hit burn again and wait another 10 minutes. And we'll keep going like this until all the ones that we need are done, and then we can go and deliver them to the people who receive these discs. Okay, so that's how it's done. I've got a little bit more work to do. I've got 4 more to make, but you get the idea now of how that's done. Thanks for watching. Bye then, everyone.